is again. And one of those first lines is one of those lines where if you know the Shakespeare words, it just makes complete sense, and you should be kind of seeing that as the play goes on. Where hast thou been, sister? Where have you been, sister? Where have you been?
Where hast thou been, sister? Killing swine. Sister, where thou?
So, where were the pig? One of the witches killing pigs. That's a swine. Why? Well, because they're witches. There's some historical reasons too, but yeah, that's just what witches do. And now the first witch is going to tell a story, kind of a ridiculous story, a petty story, but this is what witches do.
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I.
Give me, quoth I, is syntax, of course. So, sailor's wife had chestnuts. I asked, give me, quoth I. Give me, said I said, give me. Hey, give me some. And then the lady replied,
Right me witch, the rump-fed runnion cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of the tiger. But in a sieve I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do.
So, her husband, to Aleppo gone, there's syntax there too. Aleppo, capital of Syria, it's an ancient port city. Master of the Tiger, that's just the ship that was famous during Shakespeare's day. Her husband's gone to Aleppo. But in the sieve, I'll thither sail. Sieve is like a small boat. I'll thither sail. I'll there sail. I'll sail there. So syntax again. So she wouldn't give me her chestnuts. Well, I'm going to something about her husband.
Give thee a wind, a kind, and I another. I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know, with the shipman's card.
So I'll give you a sail. I'll give you wind. So I'll give you the magic to get you there to her husband.
I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary 7 nights, 9 times 9, shall he dwindle, peak, and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest-tossed.
Alright, so here's what she does to her husband. I'll drain him dry as hay. I'll make him tired. Shall sleep neither night nor day. He won't be able to sleep at all. Hang upon his penthouse lid. Penthouse lid, that's your eyelid. So I'm going to make him tired and unable to sleep. He shall live a man forbid. He won't have a nice life. Weary 7 nights 9 times 9. So maybe 9 times 9 nights. Shall he dwindle pink and pine, and he shall be tempest tossed. His ship will get lost at sea. So I'm going to make him really tired, unable to sleep, and lost at sea for 9 times 9 days. Yeah, that's the curse, and really that's it. There's no plot. There's no deeper themes here. It's not these witches cursed this dude because his wife didn't give her chestnuts. So the moral of this story, if you're confronted by someone that might be a witch, be nice. Alright, let's continue.
Look what I have. Show me. Here I have a pilot's thumb, racked as homeward he did come.
And they have a pilot's thumb, like the captain of a ship or a steerer of a ship. Why? Because that's what witches do.
A drum. Macbeth doth come. The weird sisters hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice to thine, thrice to mine, and thrice again, to make up mine peace. The charms wound up.
Alright, so let's talk about this before Macbeth shows up. They call themselves the Weird Sisters. So weird is there's an old English word. So Shakespeare's early modern English, Chaucer's Middle English, Beowulf is Middle English, Old English, sorry. Did I say that correctly? Shakespeare's early modern, Chaucer is Middle, and Beowulf is Old English. So the Old English word weird means fate or destiny. So you're weird, your fate, your destiny. So if you know anything about Norse mythology, there's a set of characters called the Norns, Norns. They're very much like the Fates in Greek mythology. It's three women. Normally the Norns, there's like a grandma, a mom, and a daughter. Three women that are in charge or deal with people's fate and destinies. So that's who they are. And those of you that read Harry Potter, if you remember in book 4, what band performed at the Yule Ball? The Weird Sisters. So it's like directly taken right from Macbeth. Alright. Thrice divine and thrice divine. Again, those building of threes, magical numbers. Piece the charms wound up. This is one of those times where this might be a spell or something like that, why people think Macbeth is cursed. Did they mention that in the intro lesson? Okay. Now we finally get to meet Macbeth. And Banquo, who's kind of like his fighting partner. Here we go. So actually, before we even listen to him, let's look at his first words. So foul and fair a day I have not seen. So first is the syntax. It should be I have not seen so foul and fair a day. What does that line remind us of? Where have we seen that? Foul and fair. Oh, those are like some of the closing lines from the witches in Act 1, Scene 1. Fair is foul and foul is fair, hover through the fog and filthy air. Again, they're predicting what other characters will say. It's showing the audience they have some sort of power or gifts of foresight. Yeah, here we go.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far is called to Forest?
Forest, that's where Duncan was last scene.
What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on't. Live you? Or are you aught that man may question?
So what are these? They don't look like the inhabitants of the earth, yet are on it. They don't look like they should belong here. Live you, their syntax. Do you live? Or are you aught? Aught is anything. Are you anything that man may question? Do you actually exist?
You seem to understand me by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. You should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
So, choppy finger, that could be chapped or dry or even scaly. Okay, you understand me. You're putting your finger to your lips, probably in the shh sign. You should be women. Yet your beards forbid me to interpret. You look like you should be women who have beards. Now, that could mean literally that they have beards. Could mean generally that they're hairy, or it could just mean they have things kind of covering their face or obscuring their face. Like, I can't figure out your identity. And then Macbeth.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail, Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter.
So, the three witches make 3 predictions. Remember, things happen in threes. 3 hails, that's like a salute. All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis. So Glamis is a region. That's his current title, Thane of Glamis. Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. If you remember, Cawdor was one of the rebels from the previous scene that had been beaten. And all hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter, after this point of time. So here's our 3 things. Thane of Glamis, which he currently is. Thane of Cawdor, which is another title that someone else has. And king hereafter. Currently Duncan is the king. And the actor that played Macbeth just did like a gasp. What? Now to Banquo.
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly ye show?
So, Macbeth, you seem to have a weird reaction. In the name of truth, are you fantastical? Are you fantasy? Or indeed, which outwardly you show? What you're showing to us?
My noble partner you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems rapt withal.
He seems rapt. He's enthralled by your royal hope that you've given him.
To me, You speak not.
I would call that, again, a syntax thing. I would say, you speak not to me. Like, to me, it's a prepositional phrase.
If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
That's one of my favorite metaphors in the whole play. I think it's just beautiful words. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not. So, when you plant seeds, they grow, they don't grow, they grow in one way, not the other way. You can look into time and see what will happen and what won't happen. Speak then to me. I'm not begging, I'm not afraid, I don't hate you, but you're talking to him. Give me some predictions too. And then the witches, because everything is done in threes, we have 3 hails and then 3 more predictions or truth statements.
Hail.
Lesser than Macbeth and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get kings though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Alright, 3 hails, 3 predictions. Lesser than Macbeth and greater, so there's a paradox. How can you be lesser and greater than this person at the same time? Not so happy, yes, much happier. So happy can mean fortunate, so you'll be less happy, but also less fortunate, but also more fortunate. And then, thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. You will get kings, beget kings. You'll be the father of kings, or the ancestor of kings, though thou be none. But you won't be a king. So hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinel's death I know I'm Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor?
So yeah, tell me more. Whoa, don't go. Let me know. By Sinel's death, or Final's death, depending on the version, I know I'm Thane of Glamis. Yeah, that was my dad's job. That was his title. When he died, I got the title. But how of Cawdor? So Macbeth didn't stay long enough at the battle to see what happened with Cawdor. So he's kind of ignorant of that. Battles are these big things. You can't see all the way across them.
Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman. And to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor.
The king stands not within the prospect of belief. Yeah, I can't even believe that being a king is an option.
Say, from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting? Speak, I charge you!
Speak, I charge you. So where'd you get this? And then information. Speak, I charge you. I'm commanding you. It's like I have the power here. And then, as you see, stage direction, the witches vanish.
The earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air. And what seemed corporal melted as breath into the wind. Would they had stayed.
So poof, they're gone. And they just disappear. Now remember, a lot of our science fiction, fantasy literature words for kind of things like this, they didn't exist. Say like teleport or something like that. They just vanished. So it's like as breath into the wind. Like when you breathe, it just disappears into the air and you can't see it anymore. So they just disappeared.
Were such things here as we do speak about? Or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner?
Were such things here as we do speak about? Were there things here that we speak about now? Were they actually here? Or have we eaten the insane root that have taken the reason prisoner? He's basically saying, are we high? Did we eat something to make us hallucinate this? Because if it is, this is a consensual hallucination. We both agree that this has happened. And all these societies totally knew about hallucinogenic drugs. In fact, some Viking warriors would take hallucinogenic mushrooms before they went into battle to get into a frenzy. Now the way these actors are playing it, they're gonna play this like it's a joke. Oh, that's just funny. Don't worry about it. Other actors don't. It's just a stylistic choice.
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor, too, were it not so?
To the self-same tune and words. Who's here?
No, Ross and Angus. Ross, Thane of Ross, those are two Thanes. We met Ross before, I don't think Angus said anything. That were with King Duncan a scene ago. And remember, Ross has been given charge to give Macbeth the promotion of Thane of Cawdor.
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success, and when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend which should be thine or his, silenced with that. In viewing of the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks.
Alright, so just a brief summary. There's not too much going on here. News of your success, gives you praises, what should be thine or his, who's he going to give certain things to. You were in the stout Norwegian ranks. You were fighting so deep into Norway's army, it's like you were into their army.
Nothing afeard of what thyself didst make strange images of death.
Yeah, you weren't afraid of all the death.
Thick as tale came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defence, and poured them down before him.
Post to post, the post office letters, like we got updates about the battle. And Angus?
Sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee.
Herald thee into his sight, call you into his sight, not pay thee. We're not the ones that are going to give you a reward. We're here to get you for the king.
For an earnest of a greater honour, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
So, he just gave him the, oh, by the way, you're the Thane of Cawdor now. The actor that played Macbeth did this, like, what? Oh, I'm surprised, kind of, or I'm overwhelmed kind of thing. Yeah, so you have this title. So remember, Macbeth a minute ago heard 3 predictions: Thane of Glamis, which was already true, Thane of Cawdor, which just happened, and Thane of Glamis, and King hereafter, which, who knows?
What? Can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robe?
So a motif of clothing here. The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes? So a robe isn't just for people to wear in their house lazy on a Saturday. A robe is what a king would wear. It's clothes of royalty. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes? Those clothes aren't mine. They're someone else's clothes. Why are you putting me in those clothes, figuratively? Why are you giving me someone else's title?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose.
So he still lives, but he's gonna soon lose his life.
Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that with both he laboured in his country's wrack, I know not.
So I do not know how much of a traitor he was. Was he literally fighting on their side? Was he just funding them with money? I don't know, but
treason's capital confessed and proved have overthrown him.
Yeah, but he's been overthrown. Now, when you look right here, and it says aside. So an aside is something in a play. Of course, remember, there's no narration in a play. An aside is I guess a technique you would call it, where a character says something out loud on stage, but the other characters don't hear it. The audience hears it, and the actors playing the characters hear it because they're not dumb. But the other characters don't see it. So when Macbeth says this, the other characters don't hear it. He's like saying it under his breath, but the audience hears it. It's kind of like you've probably seen a TV show do this, where like all the characters on screen freeze except for the main character, and the main character looks at the camera and starts talking. That's basically an aside.
Glamis and Thane of Cawdor. The greatest is behind.
The greatest is behind, the greatest is yet to come. The greatest of those titles.
Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings? when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them.
So again, aside to Banquo, so now he's just talking to Banquo, the other characters can't hear. Hey, they gave me Thane of Cawdor, that happened. They said your children will be kings. Do you think that's going to happen? Oh, skip too far, there we go.
That trusted home might yet enkindle you unto the crown besides the Thane of Cawdor.
Yeah, that might enkindle you to the crown, what those witches have said. They might make you king too.
But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to be...
So, oftentimes, instruments of darkness tell us truth. Things that are evil can tell us things that are true, and though it might be good for us in the moment, it might lead to our harm in the long run.
Pray us in deepest consequence. Cousins, a word, I pray you.
Cousins, a word, I pray you. And then he goes talk to them. Because remember, these Thanes, they're the royal family. Everyone is kind of related. They're cousins, or second cousins, or third cousins, or 15th cousins, 3 times removed on your mother's side. They're all somewhat related. Okay, Macbeth in aside. So, he is now talking alone. Other characters are on stage. So what's the difference between a soliloquy and a monologue? Generally, a soliloquy, solo, that's the SOL part of the soliloquy, means there's one person on the stage, where monologue means there's one person talking. So depending on how the director stages this could be a soliloquy or a monologue. But Macbeth is going to say exactly what's in his heart, what's going on in his head. So I'm actually going to just let this play, and then we'll talk about this when it's done. So the 15 lines or so.
2 truths are told, as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why hath it given me earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man, that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not.
So, okay. So we're not going to cover everything. That will take too long. So we're just going to look at the most important parts. 2 happy prologues, 2 predicted things of the swelling act, the getting bigger act, of the imperial theme. Imperial, empire, monarchs, kings. This theme of being a king. The supernatural soliciting, so the witches cannot be ill, cannot be good. So, I don't know if it can't be good or bad, it can't be bad and good. If ill, if this is bad, why hath it given me earnest of success, commencing in a truth? So if this is what the witches are bad, they've given me something good that's also true. And they've also given me kind of hope, good feelings. I'm Thane of Cawdor, it's good. So if this is good, why does this unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? So why does it unfix my hair, like a modern version of or past version of making the hair stand up on the back of your neck? Why does it make my seated heart knock at my ribs? Why is it making my heart beat in my chest? It's giving me anxiety. If this is good, why is it making me feel weird? My thought, whose murder is yet but fantastical, fantasy, hasn't happened. Yeah. So, he's not dumb. If he's supposed to be the king, he knows what's the number 1 fastest way to be the king? To kill the king. He says it. Murder. He acknowledges it right here. And these ideas, they just kind of take over him. He doesn't brush them off like, oh yeah, whatever, that's not going to happen. So I've actually heard two different scholars, PhDs from famous universities, give different reasonings for this, and they're literally opposites. I've heard one scholar say, Macbeth gets so easily overwhelmed by this idea and obsessed with this idea because he's never thought about it before. And since he's never thought about it before, he has no built-up immunity to these ideas, and they kind of just take him over like a virus. The other one I've heard, which is literally the opposite, is no, he has always wanted this. He has always thought about this. He's always hoped for this, and now it's an option, and now he gets obsessed by it. It's actually something that could happen. Also, something just to know, at this time, Scotland did not have the kind of government where the king died, it automatically went to his son. They had, if the king would have to appoint his successor, and often he would appoint the best warrior or the best kind of leader, not necessarily his son. So Macbeth could be next in line, in theory. And Banquo, look how our partner's wrapped. So he sees Macbeth standing over mumbling to himself. And now, let's have Macbeth finish this monologue or soliloquy.
How our partner's wrapped.
The chance will have me king, my chance may crown me without my stir.
Okay, good point. If chance will have me king, chance, fate, destiny, fortune will have me king, will make me the king, my chance may crown me without my stir. Chance will give me the crown without my stir, without my doing anything. Chance is personified there. So if chance, sorry, just blanked out for a second. Without my stir. So I became Thane of Quarter just by doing what I was doing normally. Maybe becoming king will be like that. So maybe I don't have to do anything, and I'll become king too. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow a piano will fall on the king, and now I'm next in line. Who knows?
New honours come upon him, like our strange garments cleave not to their mould, but with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Come what come may, that has turned into a very famous cliched phrase. Come what come may to come what may, just whatever may come, let it happen.
Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure.
Oh, we're waiting for you, Macbeth. Come on, dude. You're mumbling over in the corner to yourself.
Give me your favour. My dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered, where every day I turn the leaf to read them.
So I'm sorry for your pains.
Let us toward the king. Think upon...
Let us toward the king. Let's go. And now here's an aside with Banquo. So something to point out about this. There's always a chance of getting caught. And in this society, kind of like in most societies that have ever existed, treason is pretty much always punishable by death. Because of that, if Macbeth is saying anything that's potentially treasonous, he needs to say things that are so vague that an outsider, when reading or overhearing them, couldn't figure it out. So it's like the political deceptive-y kind of speech. It's kind of like in a mafia movie, the head of the mafia will not say, go shoot that man in the heart. He will say, take care of him. Okay, because take care of him is vague. Because if someone heard you say take care of him, that could mean anything. Get him a fruit basket, take him on a nice date, give him a hug. Also, just like, probably seen this in movies too, when someone goes to buy drugs, they don't say, do you have the crack? They will say, you got the stuff. Because if someone overhears you, you can't get in trouble with saying, do you have the stuff? The stuff can mean anything. Alright, so here we go. Macbeth is using this hidden kind of language, this euphemized language of vague understatement.
What hath chanced? And at more time, the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts each to other.
Think upon what hath chanced, what has happened. And at more time, when more time has passed, the interim having waited, when you've had time to weigh this in your heart, let us speak our free hearts to each other. Hey, when some time has passed, let's talk openly to each other about this thing that just happened. So if Ross and Angus overheard this, they couldn't figure out what it meant. But they know, Macbeth and Banquo know what it means.
Very gladly.
Till then enough. Come, friends.
And then we're out. And off to the next scene.